Hey y'all, welcome to another episode. I am so grateful that you are here with us today. Wow, it's been a minute. Hi, hello, so glad that you're here. I kind of took a little bit of an unexpected, not necessarily 100% planned break towards the end of December, actually pretty much halfway through December, from both social media and podcasting because life just got absolutely crazy. It was one of those things where I thought December was going to be a slow month for me and my business, which it was. That's typically how December is for me. But then just family stuff absolutely took over. And I'm sure a lot of you know how that is. I had like 10 different family Christmases, and then we hit New Year's, and I decided it was just a really good time for me to take a step back, be with family a little bit, and then also really shape my mindset for 2024 and how I want 2024 to look for my personal life and my business, and just a little bit of everything. And then also recap 2023 and kind of like what I loved, what I didn't love, all of those things. And that podcast episode is going to be coming soon. But I wanted to do one super quick about patience in livestock photography. This is one that I already had planned, and I've been itching to do this because even though this isn't like really a clickbait title, it is still so important in photographing livestock. And it's one thing that with all of my interns or new employees or things like that, I always drill in immediately. The first thing I say to them is, it's worth sitting there for an extra few seconds to get the shot than it is for you to have a half-assed shot. Because with livestock, they're constantly moving, especially if they're like young calves or things like that. In a show ring, they're going to be finicky, flinching around, all of those things that they're just not going to want to work for that exhibitor in the best way. But your job as a photographer is to capture that animal in its best light. And trust me, you're not going to sell a photo if the calf is set up wrong. It's just the way it is. Like, you may sell it because Grandma Jeannie wants it or something like that, but you're not going to sell it because the exhibitor or the breeder or something like that thought, oh my gosh, my calf looks amazing right there. Granted, there are times where you just have to snap the photo because the calf's not going to set up. But there are also times where if you wait 2 more seconds, you're going to get that animal in perfect stride. You're going to get that animal perfectly set up, their ears forward, things like that, that it may not seem like it matters in the moment because you're in a rush, but in the long run, it will pay off to just take the extra time and be a little patient. So the first thing I want to kind of talk about within the whole realm of patience and livestock is I want to hit on animal behavior in itself. So as I said before, if you have a fresh calf in the show ring or something like that, they're not necessarily going to work perfectly well with you, but those animals are also the perfect example of what animal behavior is like and how they're going to react to you as a photographer. Animals can read us like books. That plain and simple, I don't care what anyone else says. Your emotions and your attitude is going to play off onto that animal. So when you're a photographer in a livestock ring, it's not necessarily going to be in the same level or the same light as if you're the showman on that halter or as if you're in a sale pen where you're actually talking and interacting with that animal a little bit more than when you're in the show ring. You're kind of acting almost like a fly on the wall in most cases. And so that animal isn't going to do a ton of direct interaction with you. So kind of put that aside. Let's talk more like if we were in a sale pen, right? If I am the photographer and I am screaming at the top of my lungs, I'm yelling, I'm mad, I'm upset, when those animals come to me to get their photo taken, they're going to be able to read my body language, read my attitude, behavior, all those things like that. If you as a photographer go into a situation with a inhale, exhale, say la vie, it's going to be what it's going to be type of mindset, you are going to be so much better off because those animals are going to read that. They're going to be able to completely decipher your attitude, your emotions, everything like that, and it's going to rub off onto them. So if you are hot-headed and mad and frustrated, trust me, that animal is going to get hot-headed, mad, and frustrated a lot quicker. Not saying they won't if you're patient and say la vie, but it's going to happen a lot quicker if your attitude is wrong and things like that. And that is also going to affect the way that you're able to take the photo, because if an animal is constantly moving around and stressed out, you're not going to have an opportunity for them to stop and get a really great photo. So another thing about patience is it not only affects the way you take the photo and the way that the photo turns out, but it also affects kind of how the photo looks on the back of your camera. So let's say I try to take a photo really quick and I don't take 2 seconds to change my settings just a few notches. I can completely change that photo one way or another, really great or really bad, and it's gonna really affect the way that I am able to process that photo on the back end. Like once I'm done and I'm processing it on my computer, if I just taken a couple seconds when I was taking that photo or when I was in the show ring or things like that to switch my settings around on my camera, I could save myself potentially hours editing on the back end where I'm having to fix exposure, or maybe my exposure was way too low, my photos are way too dark and I'm trying to brighten them up, and then the background's getting grainy on me. And then I have to go in and I have to completely fix all of that and use a ton of different tools where it's not just one click of messing with the exposure anymore. It's a million other things to make sure that that photo is processed properly. So not only when you're taking the photo, have patience, but also like with your camera, take the time and be patient with that to actually execute the photo properly. Another thing about this is I did an episode, it was either the last one or the one before, something like that, about lighting and how that plays a role in livestock photography and the importance of that. If you haven't watched that one yet, go watch that. And I go into a ton more detail about lighting, but it also plays into patience with your photos, because if you are trying to take photos at high noon where the sun is going to be directly above everyone, it is going to make your life really difficult in the moment, A, and on the back end, B, because you're not going to have anywhere where you can really get a great angle on that, okay? And so have patience with the lighting situations too. If you are doing creative photos, this is a perfect example. If you're going around the barn and you are taking fitting photos, for example, right? So your lighting situations can be all over the place, dependent on if people have shoot lights, if you're in a dark barn, if you're outside, anything like that. This is a prime example of having patience, because those clippers are constantly moving, the fitters are constantly moving, they're not posing for you, okay? Like you are truly catching candid moments in the true and authentic moment. And so with that, on lighting, if you are like, a great way to explain this is if you are taking photos in a shoot that has shoot lights on it, okay? Waiting for the moment where that person moves just right. Maybe their body is shifting along the top line of an animal. And if you wait for just the right moment, it's going to have a perfect light flare in the background while still being able to see that person's face, see the detail, all of those things. It's going to execute a photo so much better than if you just see that moment and you take it super quick and don't really think about the lighting situation that you have at hand and things like that. When you're taking sale photos, like I said earlier, if you're at high noon, it's going to be really difficult to get that animal in a position where you are able to execute that photo properly, dependent on the time of year, of course, and where we kind of are on the axis of the earth and how the sun is moving. That is dependent. Go to my last episode to learn more about that. But be patient with the light too. Mother Nature, we don't have control over it. Okay, that's as simple as it is. And take a breath, be patient. Sometimes it's best to, go get some lunch, or just give everyone a break from the sale pen if you are encountered with a situation like that, because it's going to save you a ton of time in the long run of things, not only in the working pen, but it's also going to save you a long time editing on the back end. So this was a pretty quick episode, I know, but I really wanted to discuss this and kind of talk about how patience plays a role in livestock photography, how your body language and how you act as a person plays a role into livestock photography, and just some kind of like other key points that maybe this doesn't seem like a super important topic, or it's like, oh, duh, to a lot of you, but it's a really good reminder. I even need the reminder sometimes because let's just say patience is a virtue, and it is a quality that I am continuously working on. And in my photography, in my life, everything like that, I am not the best at having patience. So I fully understand. I needed the reminder just as much as I'm giving it today, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you liked today's episode, please like, subscribe, leave a comment on the podcast, leave us a review, only like good reviews, please. If you have a bad review, hit me up on the DMs and we can talk about it there. But again, thank you guys so much for being here, and we will talk next time. I cannot wait to get back into the groove of this in the new year and kind of talk about all of the exciting guests that we have coming and topics and everything like that. So till next time, friends.